A very welcome to this presentation, Yamaha Team Scandinavia 2024. First of all, team manager Philip Backlund, give us a short recap of 23 and what's going to happen in 24.
Thank you very much, Andy. For us in 2023, it was a big year. We as a team had said that, okay, we needed to find a new path, new motivation. And we decided we wanted to enter one of the toughest championship in Europe. And we ended up choosing to go down to Spain and the ESBK championship. And we entered with 4 riders, 2 riders in the main category in the superbike and 2 riders in the 600. And it was great. It was a big learning year. We had some really good results over the season in both categories. And looking now into 2024, we're stepping in with more experience and even more motivation to continue on this path and establish ourselves as one of the top teams.
And I think we will start to present one of your Spanish riders in the superbike category. Welcome, Simon Jespersen from Denmark.
Hello, everyone. So first of all, thank you for letting me be here at the presentation. And yeah, as you already know, I'm Simon Jespersen, and I'm rider of Yamaha Team Scandinavia. So basically, I started racing when I was, I think, around 14 years old. Not the average, because mostly any riders start when they are above, like around 5 years old or something. But so yeah, I started racing when I was 14, and I think mainly the reason was because of my father. My father has been racing his whole life until I started, and he introduced me to racing when he went to winter training in Spain. And it was when I was, I think, 13 years old. I was when I came to Spain to see my dad winter training. And then when I was 14, I started to let's say think about the motorcycles and this sport. So I pulled my father in the right arm, and I say, "Father, I want to start." And then we started like slowly with motocross and then with the small bikes, and also we actually started with the Danish championship right away. The first year I started riding on the bike, and then basically it just went really fast. And the second year I was racing, I went to Germany and I jumped to the Moto3 250 bike. And then I was riding in Germany for 2 years, I think, until it was like 2015 I started. And then 2016 I did my last year in Germany and I finished second. And then basically from there it was difficult to find out what to do, to which category I had to move on to. So we were thinking for quite a while, and then in the end this Spanish championship appeared, also Moto3 category, which is called the European Talent Cup back then. And then me and my father, we traveled to Spain and we were winter training and basically preparing us for the Spanish season. And then in the end, we were doing better than what I expected. We won some races and I finished a few times on podium, and in the end I finished that championship in 5th place. And between these five riders, there was like a how can you say, like a present or something, or reward. And then I got selected for the Red Bull Rookie Cup championship, and it was in 2018, and that was really learnful year and a nice experience. And I was struggling quite a lot because I think I was not completely ready, but anyways I learned really much about myself and about other riders and how things were going in the MotoGP paddock. And then from there we moved on to, because I only got 1 year in the Red Bull Rookie Cup championship, and then after that in 2019 I moved on to Junior World Championship in Moto3. And before the season, just before the season, I managed to break both of my legs in motocross race. So I was like out of half of the season. And then we came back, middle of season, and I finished it as good as I could. And I just wanted to be around the points, and I was really close, but in the end I couldn't manage. And then we went to 2020, sorry. And we were, hit by this COVID pandemic. So we were not really sure of what we had to do, because the Moto3 season that I did in 2019, they stopped everything and they wanted to restart like middle of season in June month or something. And me and my father was thinking like what we had to do. So in the end, we take a decision to not continue in the Moto3 class, and I moved to Super Sport category. And then we did the Spanish Super Sport Open category with really, really old Honda. And yeah, basically it was a year of like a low budget, if you can say that. We didn't really spend any money on the bike, only tires, of course, and we had few broken engines during the year, but it's just bad luck. But we ended up winning the championship, and it was a really nice year. And then we moved on to Yamaha, to the Yamaha R6 for the Super Stock Championship in Spain in 2021. And it was really challenging year, because of several reasons of my previous teams, that we couldn't agree on some few things, and it was a really, really difficult year for me. But in the end, I think I finished P3 in the championship. And then during that year, Kallio Racing Team from the World Super Sport category, they contacted me. Visa Kallio contacted me and asked if I could be able to join one race they had in Spain, because some rider was injured. And then I said, yeah, why not? I tried to collect few sponsors for that weekend, and we managed to be there. It was in Navarra circuit. Yeah, I did really, really nice. It was my first race there, wildcard, and I think I was leading like half a lap the second race or something, and it was really nice. And then I think I finished around P9 or P7 in both races. And then from there I had contact with Kallio Racing, and we tried to see if we could manage something for 2022. And unluckily enough, I couldn't find budget for this year with them and for the World Super Sport Championship. So there was some possibilities of what I could do, and I chose to change to Ducati, because there came this new bike, Ducati V2, and it was in Italian Championship. And that was also really, really difficult year to adapt to the bike and adapt to the Italian tracks. But in the end, I think that for myself, I learned a lot also to change to that bike. And during 2022, Visa was still like asking me to come to some few races to substitute some of his riders, and I was more or less always in top 10, top 15, few races below. But for me, I think I was performing really well. I had the opportunity to go to Indonesia and Australia also in 2022 with Kallio Racing and World Super Sport, and then we finished the year, and I was really close to sign another deal with a Yamaha team for 2023. But in the end, in late month of I think around December of 2022, then they managed to like break the deal with me, and I had to find some other solution really soon, because the championships are starting, quite early in the year. So I was thinking of what to do, and in the end I sent Philip Backlund a message, and in the end we have a short phone call together, and yeah, we managed to find out a deal to be with him in 2023 for fighting for the championship in Spain. It was like quite of a how can you say, like a stress, because we didn't have any kind of deal together with tires or anything. But before the season starts, we managed to make a deal with Dunlop, and for me it was difficult because it was my first time with this brand of tires. And by the end of the year, we find really good setup with the tires, and I managed to know these tires and adapt to them really well, and we finished in P3 in the championship. And I think also if we could have a little bit more luck behind us, then we could have been winning the championship. It is what it is. So this is like kind of my racing career, and between when I started and until I think 2021, I was always with my father and my mom picking up tires from the tire dealer. I was never really in a team until 2022, 2021, more or less. Always been on my own with my father, and old school riding, let's say. And now it's more easy to have a team behind you, because for me last year I managed to collect 2 mechanics from Calio Racing, actually, and also Jürgen, who is my telemetry guy in Yamaha Team Scandinavia, and we are working super well together, and I feel really comfortable being with them, and I'm able to speak with them about what I'm feeling on the bike, and always we find improvements, and yeah, it's been a long journey, and now I'm really happy of where I am, and yeah, now we are moving to another category, and it's a super bike, so and also in Spain, so I'm happy to see what we can deliver.
So Simon, do you have an experience on superbikes from the past?
Yes, actually, I forgot to mention in 2022 that I had few races, just 3 races with a Spanish team in the superbike category. And for me, I would say it's far from what I'm feeling on the R1 now, also because of my, let's say, experience that I have now since 2022, and I think I'm more ready, let's say. Back then on the R1, I was not so comfortable with the power, and let's say maybe my mentality was not as as developed as it is now. But I think that now I'm quite ready, and I feel ready also when I jump on the bike, because we already have few tests. I feel comfortable, and I feel like it's basically like the R6. So I cannot wait to start the season.
And also a question for you, Simon. How do you do your preparation in for this season? I know that you are on a racetrack right now when we speak. How much bike riding do you do? You live in Spain?
Yeah, so I have lived in Spain since 2019. And basically this year it's like similar preparation like last year, because main thing is that I really want to ride on the similar bike that I'm going to ride in the season, like training, I mean. So basically, I have tried to ride as much on the R1 as possible. Not as much as I wanted, but I think it's enough. Besides that, I also have one Yamaha R6 that I can use on the karting track. And now that we are speaking of karting track, I'm living on a karting track, and I'm really close to it, so I can go basically whenever I want. I can train there with this R6 or supermoto or mini bikes or something like that, and then also to make some different kind of training. We are going on the dirt. There's like flat track and motocross. Also, we stay on the bicycle outside and a lot of time in the gym. So we are, at least for me, I'm super busy, and I always every day have something that has something to do with my sport. So if it's not training, then it can be something else. But it's like some chain that you need to keep.
That's good to hear. You're on the track almost every day. We know you're going to go to Cartagena soon and practice. And finally, I ask you, Philip, what's your expectation of Simon's Spanish adventure this year?
I mean, it will be interesting to see. Just by looking at what I actually want to mention is that one of the things that inspires me in Simon is that he's working really, really, really hard. You can see that with all his willpower and everything he do, he really wants this, and it's inspiring to be around that kind of person and be involved. So, and also in terms of his riding style, I mean, most of the times it's quite different going from the 600 to 1000 with the power and all those things and forces. But just by looking at Simon's riding style, also from the 600 adapting to 1000, I believe we are where we should be. And I with more experience over the season, I'm sure we will be up fighting up in the front.
Okay, that's word from team manager Philip Backlund. Thank you, Simon, joining us here on the presentation. And I think we will move on. We still stay in Spain. Ola Hoeglund, Stock 1000 Spanish Championship this year. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, like we hear from Simon.
Yes.
My name is Ola Hoeglund. I started racing motocross when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I did until I was 11 before I moved to Spain and then started to race asphalt.
Classes have you been attending in before you come to this big class?
No, I did a few years with the Pre-Moto 3 and then with the 300 and then 600 and then to the 1000.
So the preparation for this year with the Yamaha team, how has it gone so far? What have you done to make yourself fit for the racing season?
Yeah, I've been training a lot physical on the bicycle, and also we're trying to go a lot to my R1 training bike to do kilometers with the same bike that I will race with.
So how much are you doing on the track time on the road racing track right now?
Now maybe I try to do a few times a month, so each weekend.
You also live in Spain, what I understand, like Simon. So you have the tracks around you, I guess.
Yeah, I have tracks very close.
Which track in Spain is your favorite track?
I think Barcelona.
The Catalonia circuit.
Yeah.
So your results from the last year, what did happen? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I did the half of the season with the Superstock before I jumped to the Superstock 1000.
And how did it go?
I was okay. A few top 10 positions, but I expect more this year.
Okay, is it the same bike you ride last year, or is it any difference to the new setup?
No, it's quite the same.
Okay. Philip, tell us about Ola? Why did you choose him to the Yamaha team?
For me, it's very interesting to see, and something Ola didn't mention. He's only 16 years old, and okay, he's quite tall, but that's also why he jumped on the big bike, on the 1000, on the R1, and like Ola said, he started it last year in 600, and then moved on to the 1000, and it was because he was only 15. Down in Spain, you need to turn 16 to be able to ride legit on the 1000. And if we see like the progress that Ola have done, it's amazing. I'm preparing, or I'm looking back to one of the last races last year, and in Jerez, and then we're coming back now in end of January. He's been working hard all winter time with preparations, physical training, riding bikes, and we're coming back and he's doing 4 or 5 seconds faster. We're not talking 1 or 2, he's doing 4 or 5 seconds. And for me, it's just a matter of time because he's still so young. He's learning every time he's out there, something, adapting. And it's quite easy to forget that he's only 16 years old. I mean, I remember when I was 16. Okay, I was racing all around in different championship in Europe, but I was still on the 600. But so for me, it's just it's inspiring to see.
The reason I smile is I also remember when Philip was 16 years old and riding here in Scandinavia. Thank you, Ola. It was really nice to hear from you. We wish you the best luck. And I think we move forward with the final Spanish rider, the Tibor Varga, who we will welcome in here soon.
Yes, we will.
Now I want to welcome our final Spanish competitor into this interview and presentation, Philip. Tibor Varga. Please welcome Tibor.
Hey, guys.
And please introduce yourself.
I'm Tibor Varga, I'm 70 years old, and this year I'm going to race at ASBK with the Stocks X100, and I can't wait to race with the team.
And you're from Hungary from the beginning, but you're racing and living in Spain now?
Yeah, I'm from Hungary, I'm Hungarian, but I live in Spain since last year, August.
And what have you done until this date in racing? Tell us about your career so far.
Okay. In 2016, I started to race. I was 9 years old. And in 2018, I raced in Spain in 19.2 with the Moto5 in Cuna de Campeones. And in 2020 to 22, so like 3 seasons, I raced at Northern Talent Cup. And last year, 2023, I raced in the SBK stock, but not full season. I missed 6 races, but I had good results at some places, and that's it so far.
And Philip, where do you find Tibor?
So last year, when we started up the team down in Spain, Tibor, like mid-season, he started to do Stock 600 in the SBK Championship, where we are, and we have common friends. I know one of Tibor's closest persons, also one of the guys who helps him since the past, and we were starting talking and started to introduce me to Tibor. So I was still over those races, like half season where Tibor did the SBK, keeping a close eye on where the pace was, and for me it was very good. Like you said, he's 17 years old. He's training really, really hard. He has the motivation in the right place. Decided to live down in Spain and work fully towards his goals. And I believe that with our experience, especially in the 600 class down in Spain, I believe that we can truly work with Tibor and improve for this year.
As we heard from Philip, you live in Spain and you're living by your own. I know you haven't seen your mom for a long time.
Yeah.
She was really happy to see you yesterday before you come into Sweden for a few hours.
Yes.
And how do you prepare yourself for the 24 season? What kind of practice are you doing in Spain?
In Spain, in 1 week I have 12 trainings. So like in one day, in Sunday I always rest, and in other days of the week I have one motorcycle race, motorcycle training, and one physical training in the gym or in the bicycle or in running or something like this. So like in one day I have 2 trainings, and I'm doing this since August. So, and I'm going to do this for like a couple of years, I hope so. So that's it.
What I understand, you don't live alone. You have several guys who go in racing, live together, and you push each other with the training also from day to day.
Yeah, we train together and we live at the same house with the guys.
You talk racing every day when you meet each other, and you compete each other, of course, on the push bikes and things like that.
Yeah, actually they don't speak good English, but we try. We're trying. We're trying to speak. Yeah, I'm trying to learn Spanish too.
Yeah, that's a problem. Tibor told us that not many of the Spanish people talk English, so he has a little bit problem to communicate. But he tried to learn Spanish, and it should be interesting to follow Tibor this season. Just 17 years old, since 2 weeks' time. You got your driver's license in Hungary.
Yes. I have it now. It's in my pocket.
We're not sure it's valid in Spain, but at least it's allowed to drive the car. So, Philip, this was the Spanish team presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about the partners you have in Spain? I think a little bit different against them you have in Sweden.
I mean, mainly, most of the partners are similar. It's all the partners that invest into the team. It's combination. Of course, it's some difference down in Spain, and especially on the tire side, because it's 2 brands in Spain you can work with. It's either Pirelli or the Dunlops, which over here in the Scandinavian Championship, it's wide open. And over here for many years, we've decided to work closely with Michelin, which is a great partner for us over here. So that's the biggest difference. Otherwise, we're always trying to work like a big combination. If you invest in racing in Spain, Scandinavia, our track the organization, and also through the workshop where we supply and sell the parts and products.
Okay, thank you, and hope best luck for you, Tibor, in the Spanish Championship. I think we now will move over to the Scandinavian side of the team.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.
And we're moving on with the presentation, and now we go to the Swedish Scandinavian Championship, and we start with Alex Brodersen, who was riding for your team even last year. Welcome, Alex, and please tell us a little bit about yourself, how everything started for you, and what we have done until today.
Thank you. Yeah, so I started racing mini bikes like Simon a couple of years ago, like 4.5, 5 years ago. Rode that a lot, and then I bought a Moto 3 bike, and then I did some rounds in the Swedish Championship. Stopped because there wasn't a lot of racing like here in Europe, except from Spain, and I didn't have the budget for that. So I bought an R6 and trained a lot with that. And then we did 1 year in Spain. It was a good learning year, but the budget of that it's too expensive. So Philip sent me a message in December 22. And then we spoke a lot, and then signed a contract with him and did the Swedish Championship last year. So yeah.
It worked very well for you last year. I saw you riding live in Karlskoga, where you done very well. And what's your plans for 2024? Is it do an international racing, or will you stay here in Scandinavia?
I have to pay this year. I have to pay myself, so it's only going to be like in Scandinavia I'm going to be racing.
And how do you preparing right now? We see you are on the track making your living.
Right now I'm trying to earn some money so I can ride. So that's my preparation, and then I mean I don't ride enough, so we will see. I haven't been riding since November, and I'm probably not going to be riding until like April.
Okay, so you will not go to Spain for any practice. You will start when
No, unfortunately not. I don't have the money for that right now.
And what do you think about Alex? He will ride for you again. You're happy with the relationship. You did the championship last year. Have you any plans for Alex? He doesn't know yet.
No, we will see. But I mean, for me, it's great to. First of all, it was great to work with Alex all year in 23, both as a rider but also as a person. This year, I think it's sometimes you come to a point that, okay, I just want to ride bikes because I love it and it's fun. And I believe that's where we are at this point. I know that Alex has the natural talent of racing a bike. He's super, super talented. He's good on the bike, and I believe with that back in the head and also in the whole atmosphere and the team and everything, I believe no matter if he's not riding as much bike as in the past, I believe that we can still do great things together.
That's good to hear, Philip, and really good to hear from you also, Alex. And I hope we see you on the track in the summer. I will be at Karlskoga and see you again. And thank you for joining us here on the presentation, and good luck for the season.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
And we go to the Supersport Next Generation ride, and Edwin Ros, welcome.
Thank you.
And Edwin, you have done 1 year in the Supersport Next Generation last year on the Ducati, and before that you was on the Supersport 300 class. Tell us a little bit how it started with your racing career.
Yeah, so my name is Edwin Ros. I'm 17 years old, from Sweden. I began in 2019 to drive road racing. And before that, I was a lot into motocross and enduro. So that was where I began my journey. And last year, I raced in the Super Sport 600 class on Ducati V2. And that went very well. And that was my first year, and I was able to get the 3rd place in the championship, so I'm very satisfied with the results.
And now you move forward from the V2 engine to a 4-cylinder Yamaha R6. And how do you think you will adapt to this kind of engine?
I think it will be different, but I have tested it down in Spain and I really enjoy it, and I hope it will be very nice.
And if I ask Philip, how did you find Edwin? Because I see him already when he was in the Supersport 300. You think you have your eyes on him already?
Already back then. I mean, I remember the first years when Edwin started in the Supersport 300 category and moving all the time up through the ladders and in the standings. And last season when he was in the Supersport 300, he was really, really strong. And for me, it's also a case, I mean, if you're a strong Supersport 300 rider and moving up to the Supersport 600, the adaptation is quite good because the Supersport 300 bikes are still pretty big and heavy. So for me, it was a case that, okay, I could pretty quick understand that he most certainly will adapt to the bigger bike quite quick. And we could see that. I mean, last year when he did his first full season in the category, in the 600, and he was up there each and every weekend. Of course, it was on a different brand, but I'm super happy to have him in our team in blue colors and will represent us on an R6.
And if you go forward, I think you will fight for the championship. That's your expectation. Do you think if you can do any international racing now in the future also?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so, and will do that as well. But this season I will be going in Sweden in the Supersport 600 class, as I said. But next year maybe I will go down to Spain or down in Europe to compete with the big guys.
And how are you preparing yourself for this year? Are you doing any practice? You go anywhere to practice, or you stay home?
Yeah, I work out in the gym and out running and stuff like that. And I also still going on the motocross and enduro to train during the winter time, and so yeah.
I think you have a strong lineup in Edwin Ros, because he was really fast, as you mentioned, last year on the Ducati, and I think he will even go better on this Yamaha here in Scandinavia. I think we thank Edwin for talking to us, and we move forward with your next rider here in Sweden.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck, Edwin.
Thank you.
And now we're going to talk to interesting rider from Finland, Kenny Koskinen. Tell me a little bit about Kenny before we hear from himself.
So I know Kenny and Kenny's name from the past. In the past, he was riding in the Spanish Championship, and always, even if I'm totally interested in bikes, so you're watching all the different championship, and I always see, okay, Kenny Koskinen from Finland. And then for some time, I didn't continue to see him. But then he's popped up end of last year in 23, one race in Finland. I'm like, I recognize this name. And that's why, that's when I started to get in contact with Kenny.
Okay, and then we let Kenny introduce himself. Welcome to this presentation, Kenny. And please introduce yourself and tell us what you have done in the motorcycle from the beginning, please.
So hello to everybody. It's nice to be here. Thanks for Philip and Sandy for inviting me here. And my background actually goes back to 2010, if I don't remember wrong. I started racing at 6 years old, really young. I obviously started with the pocket bikes, did few years with the pocket bikes in Finland, then moved up to the mini bikes, as it's called. Did few years of that in Finland as well. Then I believe I won the Finnish mini bike championship, and we went to Germany to race the mini bikes. I did pretty well there. I was, I believe, 4th in the championship in Germany, and at the same time as I finished the championship in Germany, we actually moved to Spain with my family. This was 2015, if I don't remember wrong. And as we moved to Spain, I also started riding at big tracks and riding bigger bikes. That was a pre-Moto 3 back then. I did the Spanish championship with the pre-Moto 3 for a couple of years. I actually paired with one Spanish team that we ended up doing 2 years with them. The second one was in the European Talent Cup. That was a pretty new championship back then. This was 2018, I think. That was not the greatest year of my career. It was pretty bad actually, and I was also in a growing stage. I was getting quite big for the small bikes, and we decided to jump to the 600cc bikes. So in 2019, I did the Spanish championship in Supersport, and even though it's a quite radical change from a Moto 3 bike to a Supersport bike, I actually ended up doing pretty good in that year. We weren't fighting for good positions, but it was much better than 2018 with the Moto 3 bike. And I actually did 3 years in a row the Spanish Supersport Championship. Between 2019 and 2020 was like a huge step for me in my career. I think my lap times went like 2-3 seconds faster in each circuit, and it was like a very big change in my riding. that was actually at the time that Corona hit, and the beginning of the 2020 year was, well, we were at home, no racing, nothing. So I'm not sure what happened there. We came back racing in June 2020, if I'm right. I actually did one race here in Finland because that was the first place where we were able to race, and I ended up winning the races here in Finland. Then we went to Spain. I did pretty well. I was not on the podium, but like in the top 10 positions, and that's actually where I also started enjoying riding again. 2018 and 19 was a bit difficult years. I was not enjoying riding so much, and I guess in 2020 I just found the happiness in riding again and got a lot of motivation, and we continued well into 2021. The championship actually got a lot tougher in 21. We did better that year, but the positions were not much different. We did some top tens, did one pole position actually, and yeah, it was not a bad year for me. But then we moved back to Finland with my family in 2021, and for many personal reasons I did not actually race at all in 2022. I was riding quite a lot during the summer, so I was getting a lot of training in. Actually, my pace was getting faster in 2022, even though I was not doing any races at all. Last year in 2023, I was still not doing any races. I was actually riding even less. I did some practice during summer, but it was just, let's say, it was a big lack of motivation in the beginning of 2023. Then something hit me at the end of 2023. I got like big excitement with racing again. I went to do the last race of the Finnish championship at the end of the year. I did both classes with the Superstock 600 and then Open 1000 category. I ended up winning all the races with the both categories, and this was also like a really big boost of motivation for me that, okay, I really want to be back on the big tracks next year. And like Philip said, soon after that we started talking with him, and now we're working towards 2024. No, still not sure what we're going to race, but it's been very learnful beginning of the year with the new bike. It's a completely new bike for me, the Yamaha 1. Also with such a less riding, it's not been the easiest start, but I've been enjoying it a lot and very excited to see what we will do this year.
And then let me ask you, how are you doing the preparation in for this season? Are you doing any ice riding like is very popular in Finland? Or do you practice skiing, or how do you do yourself fit for the season?
Well, even though I haven't been riding bikes much, I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been, that's for sure. So yeah, it includes skiing and a lot of physical training. I don't have much ice road racing, even though it's common in Finland, but as we used to live in Spain, it never was possible for me, and now it hasn't started yet. I did try it this winter as well, and I hope I will do more of that next next year.
Okay, then I turn the attention to Philip again. What are your expectation of Kenny's 2024?
No, I think that in a short time a period, I hope and believe that we will be able to announce what Kenny will do in 24 in terms of racing.
Okay, that's not sure yet, and it will be a secret for you until the date when you two have the agreement on sign.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Kenny, for joining us. Very nice. We will follow you with interest for the season this year. And thank you for joining this presentation.
Thank you very much for having me, and see you on the racetrack.
And now we will move on with the final competitor in your team, Philip. It's the youngest rider. I know I've been with you since 4 years back. So we welcome Maximus Vikingasköld. Hello and welcome to the team presentation. And you have to tell a little bit about yourself, but I know that last time I saw you was almost 20 centimeters shorter, and now you will move on to a big bike.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your career from the beginning.
Yeah, my name is Maximus Vikingasköld. I am 15 years old. I started with road racing when I was 12, and then when I was 13, I started racing with Philip and his team. And when I was 4 years old, I started with motocross, and yeah, since then I've just been racing in the motorsport, in both road racing and motocross.
And you will move up from the Supersport 300 class to the Supersport next generation this year. Tell us a little bit about your expectation on the bigger bike. You already tried it, I know.
Yeah, I trained a bit on it last year, and it went super well. So that's why we move on to the bigger bike. But yeah, my expectations isn't that high because it's a bigger bike than the usual I have raced on before. So I just think I will just do this year for training, and we will see where the championship, will take us.
And I also know that you have some international experience. You have been out twice to do international racing. Tell us a little bit how it was to go out international.
Yeah, it was a bit, what should you say, the competitors were much bigger than me. They were stronger, and I noticed that the Spanish drivers were much faster than the Swedish racers, and I have a lot to train on, so to be competitive in those countries. But yeah, it was very good for me. I learned very much, so it was a great experience.
And all the other riders here, I got the question, how do you prepare in for this season? What are you doing for training?
Under the winter, I have trained a bit with motocross, and then also I have been at the gym very much, and also working with sponsors so I could afford to race here and to be able to race in the 2024 season.
And now on to Philip, how it started with Maximus, because you had the eye on him. He was 13 years old when you saw him the first time.
To be honest, he was only 12.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's quite an interesting story. It all started when Maximus' dad calls me and asking if he can come to one of our track day events. And I ask, okay, who is this? Who is your son? He says, no, he's only 12 years old, but he can ride a bike. I'm like, okay. First of all, who is he and what have you done? And explain that he'd been riding motocross for several years. And so in the end, I said, okay, you can come and try. And that's how our journey started. So Maximus did the first year most of the time on track days, ended the season with some races. And after that year, I said, okay, Maximus, let's go racing and come and join us. And that's how that's the journey we are on.
Hopefully we can see you go international racing soon. And this is of course a learning year on this bigger bike, but as you told us, you still already tried it, and the lap times wasn't too bad either. It was just a couple of seconds from the top guys in the class.
Yeah.
And you wasn't used to the bike at all that time.
Yeah, that was also why we went to this bike, because I was training on it as I said, last year in the summer, and I was just a couple of seconds behind the top in the Swedish Championship. So me and Philip, we talked and we said that, okay, if I feel comfortable on the bike and I am fast on the bike, I can move up 1 year earlier.
Should be very interesting to see Maximus this learning year on the big bike. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's also pretty good. He comes in, he has two very experienced riders in the team, in Alex and Edwin. They've been done 600 and also the championship or the class in the past. And for Maximus to come in and watch and learn and adapt to the bike and the series, I believe it will be a very good year.
I think this is all from this presentation, but before we end, can you tell us a little bit about the team structure with the Yamaha Team Scandinavia, where your sponsor is, where your partners are? How is the situation right now?
No, so the setup of the team is that, okay, we have the Spanish team, we have the Swedish team or the Scandinavian team, and the setup is quite easy. We have built a team in Spain. In the first year, we tried to work with a combination of Scandinavian people inside the team combined with a few Spanish. This year, we're trying to implement even more Spanish people, because of cost efficiency. It's easier to have people that work with the team and the bikes and so on down in Spain. So that's been the main thing for us. If we look at the team over here, the structure is very similar. We're taking on board a few new people and also involvement of the people with different aspects. So runs as two separate teams and feels good.
And you and Martin Rovanovsky is still in charge of the whole setup?
He's involved in the whole racing category, but also in the whole business. Yeah.
That's good. I think we will thank everybody watching this team presentation, and we wish Maximus good luck in the bigger class, and hope we can see you in Spain to the end of the season, maybe as a wild card. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Philip, for inviting me to be here in the presentation.
Thank you, Sandy, very much for the time, and let's see each other out on the racetrack, guys. Thank you for watching, and let's go for a good year of racing.